welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of The Extra Point. You see them. We got the hit makers in the house, Mr. Michigan Mike, Michael Hasso, Miss Tasha T. Sizzle in her Firebird t-shirt. I am jealous, but I'm a professional. I will get through this. I need one of them shirts. We got a ton of sports to talk about today. Yes, even with the closure of the football season, we got a ton to talk about today, and we will right after a word from our sponsor.
We are sponsored by May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can now watch out. Just go on her website and she will give you all information about pop-ups she's doing, future ventures that she's doing, and eventually she will be providing the coffee back where you can order it and enjoy the May Jane's from home. Again, go on the website. That's May Jane's Coffee, MAEJANES coffee.com.
Right on. Shouts out to our sponsor, Denise, and May Jane's Coffee. But the Extra Point is also brought to you by
Wolverine Comics. That's Wolverine_Comics TX. We sold a couple of these slabs last night. So these are going to be shipped out first thing today. So if you have any comics that you want to buy, sell, or trade, let me know.
Let that man know. And Mike, make sure that you and Tasha, you as well, put the links in the comment section for people who may join us later on in the show where they can go and get their brows on. We want to wish a happy Saturday morning to Miss Melanie Taylor. Thank you for checking in. Now, speaking of checking in, the fact that we're not just co-workers here. This is not just a job. This is my friends. This is my family. And as family, we got to check on Mike. Mike, how you doing this morning? Has Tom has the waters kind of rescinded? Or how you feeling about that Super Bowl, man?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
I mean, I think I'm kind of numb to the football gods this year. It felt very Michigan-esque to where they had a game plan defensively going into it, and then just non-existent whatsoever. And then that pass interference call just kind of like just walked away after that.
Was that a bad call, Mike?
Man, I try to equate that to like Game 7, last shot. You call it free throw shots. Like you can't make that call, man. That was like 6 yards away. Like, come on, man.
No, you do call it. I mean,
what you mean, Tasha?
let me walk that back. Mike is right. That's a call you just don't make. Like, especially seeing how throughout the whole game they were letting those ticky-tack little fouls like that go.
Great point.
Even though he admitted, yep, I pulled his jersey, I tugged him, and it was holding. At that moment, how do they always say you don't let the refs decide the game?
Right.
And I think at that moment, you kind of let the refs decide the game. So I don't know. If I was an umpire or a ref, I don't know what I would have done in that situation, because then if you go back and Philly goes back, scores, and wins, the ref missed that call at the end of the fourth quarter so then the ref was damned either way.
I would rather blame the Chiefs defense than the referees after a game that went so back and forth to say, hey, the Chiefs defense just caved in the last minute and a half. They have a chance to shut the game out and all of that good stuff. So, I just wanted to make sure we checked on Mike this morning, make sure all hearts and minds were clear, and then we can go ahead and proceed forward. Now, let's get to the winner of that game, the Kansas City Chiefs. Tasha, I'm going to come to you first. I'm going to give you some nerd stats, and then I got a question for you. So, in the last 5 years, with Mahomes under center and Andy Reid as head coach, the Chiefs have a 64-18 regular season record, 5 straight AFC Championship game appearances, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowls, and 2 regular season MVPs by Mahomes. Are the Chiefs a dynasty?
If not, they're damn near close to it. Because who's what Deion say? Who's swag? Who's AFC? Who's AFC?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive, Mike. Do you agree? Are the Chiefs a dynasty in your opinion?
Dynasty for me, I have to always define it because there's always gray areas. So for me, it's 3 wins within like a 5-year standpoint. So I'm gonna go with no, but to Taj's point, they're close to it. So I predict them winning another one here in the next couple of years. And so yeah, they're built as a dynasty.
Now, the Vegas agrees with you, Mike. They have them as the odds-on favorite to win next year. No, Mike, you said not yet. What would you need to see from them in the next, let's say, 3 years? You're saying 2 more Super Bowl appearances, one more ring?
One more ring. Yeah.
Now, do they need to do this within the next 2 years? Or can they do like the Patriots and go 10 years without a ring? Like that would kind of disqualify everything that they've done up to this point?
No, I think Mahomes needs one more within the next, I would say, even 5 years. I think it's pretty hard to win and build a dynasty in the NFL, and do it like that. So I'm gonna go with the next 5 years, win one more Super Bowl. That's a dynasty with the same coach, same Mahomes. You know.
I mean, they refer to the Bills as a dynasty, and they never won.
A dynasty of losing.
Wow. I'm shot at the Bills this morning. Now,
that Bills dynasty, you know.
Now they did go to 4 straight Super Bowls.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, they still have to win. So
yeah, you got to win one of those to be a dynasty.
They're still considered a dynasty.
Right. Now, Shamika Nicole is having none of this referee talk. She said the Eagles were up by 10 at the half. When do you hold them responsible for their defense not holding the line? And Mike kind of alluded to that
in
his opening salvo. So I guess all hearts and minds are clear on that it was a defensive issue. Do you have a problem with your defensive coordinator bolting for Arizona? Your offensive coordinator went to Indianapolis. No worries there?
No, I don't have any worries.
I'm not worried about that either. You gotta get it done.
You got a top 10 pick coming through, most likely going to be a defensive player. I'm not worried.
Okay, now, Tasha, let's go to Mahomes specifically. In his 5 years, 2 regular season MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. How many quarterbacks do you have ahead of him on all-time list? Because I think we can all agree that he's the top dog among the current players. I'm going to throw out some names to you, and you tell me if they're still above Mahomes. Okay, let's just rule out Brady. We got Brady, all right. Joe Montana, still ahead of him, right? Peyton Manning?
I think as far as lure, Peyton is still above him.
Okay.
But
by the narrowest of margins. Mike, do you agree?
I mean, because it's the lure of Peyton that always keeps him in the conversation.
Right.
I agree, but I don't think it's that close because I have to also think about defensive calls that get called on these newer quarterbacks. And they ain't scared back there, you know. So like, I'm gonna go with Peyton Manning. He did great things with no offensive line, no wide receiver, you know. So I'm gonna go Peyton.
Okay, what about like you? I'm glad you brought that up.
I digress with that because he had a few in Indy. He had
Indy. But I mean, Denver was like, man.
Denver was defense. Denver was all defense.
Yeah. Now, Shamika, I want you to hold that question because we're going to talk about that next. As a matter of fact, so what are we saying? Let's put a number on this. You're saying is he top 5 all time now? Top 10? I think he's safely in the top 10, right?
Again, we have to. I mean, who are you including? Are you including the Black Shoes, the Johnny Unitas? Like, what is your cutoff?
Okay, you know what? Fair enough. I'm gonna go with the cutoff being the Montana era when passing became more prevalent, like mid to late 80s and going forward to where Mike picked up and started watching the game. So you have the Troy Aikmans, you have the Jim Kellys of the world, you have those type of quarterbacks.
See, in that essence, I mean, Jim Kelly never won a thing, but again, it goes to that.
And Warren Moon didn't either, but I have Warren Moon as a top 5.
You got Dan Marino, who never won a thing, but pound for pound, Dan Marino could be in the conversation being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I still have Marino ahead of him, even without the Super Bowls, just because of your talent. You just have to be there to watch him play to understand. And again, to Mike's point, he played in the era where your wide receiver could get decapitated 15 yards down the field, and you just have to make do with that. Now, closing out on the Chiefs today, Shamika asked the question that I have for you two. Why the hell did EB, Eric Bieniemy, leave for Washington and the NFC without a head coaching job? I don't know about that, but the math ain't mathing. All right. So my question to you, start with you, Tasha. Was this lateral move smart on Eric Bieniemy's part, or was this career suicide to go to Washington?
What did I tell? What's the when you sent that to me, or when we was discussing this? The first thing I told you was he's obviously on a kamikaze mission,
right?
Because he shouldn't have to prove himself as a OC to get a job. That's ridiculous. You got Cliff Kingsbury with a job. You had Urban Myth with a job. You got the Eagles defensive coordinator who, if I'm not mistaken, Bieniemy's offense shredded them. He got a head coaching job.
Zach Taylor for the Bengals got a head coaching job. He didn't call plays from McVay.
He was wasn't he like the quarterback coach or something like that? The list goes on and on. And, everybody says, oh, y'all keep bringing up race. The whole country brings up race. This, another thing, this, another thing. Somebody slip showing. And what we say, Evelyn, if it smell like day-old cabbage every time we go somewhere, then maybe it's you.
Right.
Maybe you just stink.
But what's so interesting about Eric Bieniemy is that he's starting to transcend even race, because there's been black coaches that have been hired and fired since he's been stuck in Kansas City, like the Central. So it's like,
what I told you too. Is it him? What? But when he was this, and I read this on Twitter. I don't know who said this on Twitter. I read this in the wee hours of this morning. They said, as he was interviewing for all these OC positions, every detail of his interview was being put out there. But when he was interviewing for these head coaching jobs, nothing was said. Is it him?
Mike, let me come to you with this question, and I want to take this from a job standpoint and not so much a cultural standpoint on this one. Now, you're a manager at your job. You look at resumes constantly. You're hiring and hopefully not firing in this economy. But hey, it is what it is. Most people fire themselves. I will give managers a break on that. But you're looking through resume. Let's say you have a candidate in front of you, and by hook or by crook, you find out that candidate has been on 15 straight interviews and nobody has hired them. Does that give you pause? Is that a red flag in your opinion?
Yeah, it's definitely a red flag, especially if it's the same organization. Because the organization has to be on the same board, I would say. And if it's for the same position, then that's kind of more of a red flag. But it's the NFL too, so like every team needs something different, and the culture is different from every team. It starts out as a red flag, but they always teach us, like, don't go in with any predetermined measures into an interview. So I would think about it and then throw it away, right? So that I can have a fresh slate with this interviewee. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I would still interview the same person regardless, of if they didn't get a job from the previous team or not. Like, I don't care you didn't get the job for the Jets or the Jet. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I need to figure out what's best for our team. So.
Good point. Natasha, go ahead. Let's chime in here. Melanie asks, are the plays designed by Eric Bieniemy called by Reed? That's what I heard this week as to why EB doesn't have a head coaching position, that Reed is calling the plays. And to Melanie's point, Reed won't shy away from that sometimes he'll get in that microphone and call a play or two or three.
But what coach doesn't call plays? You even have quarterbacks that do an audible, means they're calling their own plays.
No. Why are you pointing at me, Mike? No. Okay. So let's go with this then. Mike, you're Eric Bieniemy. You have a coach that's getting all of the credit for the work that you're putting in the weekly installation, and you feel like it's causing you not to get a job. That's why he had to leave, to prove that it wasn't just Andy Reid.
Right.
But the Commanders, let's get to that aspect of it. The Commanders are one of the most dysfunctional franchises in all of sports, regardless of sports. But they do have talent. So you're saying it's not career suicide to make a lateral move to Washington?
Oh, no.
I don't think so. I think especially for what he's wanting, what you're talking about, like, hey, I want full control of the offense, and the Commanders are like, okay, well, that's kind of like a promotion to him. So he's like, okay, cool. So Commanders are close in the East, in my opinion.
Commanders are close to having new ownership, And all new ownership has to do is come in and wipe everybody out. And that's including Eric Bieniemy.
That's a good point. See, the thing is, you both are making great points. The one thing that Mike said that I totally agree with is the fact that if you're Eric Bieniemy, you want to go to a defensive-minded head coach, because a defensive-minded head coach is going to turn the keys over to you to do what you do.
Okay.
Right. Like a Mike Vrabel, that's kind of the problem with the Tennessee Titans, and we'll get into them a little bit later. But he's not calling the offensive plays, and his eye for an offensive coordinator has not been great lately, with people being very conservative. If Eric Bieniemy can go to Washington and get that into a top 10 offense, then you leave no shadow of a doubt that you're being blackballed if you don't get the job. Right, Tasha?
Look, I'm rooting for him. Of course I am. But you sending this man into this job, basically it's like Jesus turning water into wine. He going to have to work a miracle with what he has there. I really thought Washington looked good this past season, but of course, when it counted, what happened? And I think that organization is just a blight. I just don't think that organization is going to be trending up in the next few years, especially when the new ownership comes in. They may not like what Riverboat Ron is doing. They may not like a lot of things that are going on, and they will wipe out the entire coaching staff and get their own people in there.
That is very true. And the timing of this could be a little bit murky for Eric Bieniemy, because you're going to the NFC East now that looks like the 90s NFC East.
Right.
Philly's going nowhere. Dallas is going nowhere. And the Giants are back on the scene again. So how many spots will be available for a playoff push with those three teams, still being right there in the window of opportunity for Super Bowl success? It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, Eric Bieniemy. When you go 0-15, and there's been other black coaches that have been hired and fired since, and Lovie Smith has gotten 2 jobs since then. So as much as I would love to go race, I'm going to have to kind of put that down to the side and be like, well, I won't say it quite like how Tasha asked me on behind the scenes as far as what the problem is. I wish I could say it, but I just cannot, or Facebook will wipe us off this site real quick.
I just don't think he should have to go to the basement to prove his worth. I just don't think that. You have Mahomes.
It's not the basement, though. Right? Commanders were middle tier offense.
They're the basement.
Wait a minute. Would you rather go to the Commanders than the Titans? They had an open OC position this year.
Oh, absolutely not. I think the Titans would definitely, because they have their, what everyone's saying is they have a new thing going. Right. Okay. So they have their defense figured out, or figuring it out. They have, playoff potential right there. To the Commanders, what I'm saying is his only thing is to get the Commanders to a top offense team.
And they weren't garbage this year. They had a decent record.
If they don't make the playoffs, it's not his fault.
Why should he have to go and prove himself, step down and prove himself when others have not?
You know what? I would equate this to, let's just say, everyday corporate America. For those of you who work in corporate America, if you're at a job in a department to where you're excelling, but there's no ladder to climb above your boss, that your boss is going to basically be seen as the end all be all, and there's no room for you to maneuver up, you may take a lateral move at another job because they have an opportunity for you to finally move up. And we see people do that every day.
But this is the NFL, man. It stands for not for long. It's not the same scenario. I understand.
He is rolling the dice, because if the Washington Commanders go 3-14,
he's done.
No more.
Then they're going to see, that's why we didn't give his ass that job.
You definitely going to hear that's why we didn't give his ass that job. Good conversation on that. I appreciate that. Now, let's get into a little NFL true or false. Ladies and gentlemen, I like to spring stuff on my hit makers. They have no idea what I'm about to say, and I like it that way. So let's get their gut reaction on these statements to see if they are true or false. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
Let's go, Mike. Deion Sanders will be an NFL head coach before Eric Bieniemy. True or false?
Dang, that's a tough one because we just started talking about it. It's going to all come down to the Commanders. Do I see that happening? I'm gonna go false.
So you saying EB will get it? Will get an opportunity to coach the NFL team before Prime?
Yeah. I don't see Prime jumping into the NFL like that quickly.
Tasha?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I don't see Prime because Prime's got to right his ship at Colorado too.
Good point. We'll have to see how that works. But the thing is, the expectations are so low at Colorado. If he goes 8-5, he might get a call next season. All right. Next up, Tasha, since Mike went first. Aaron Rodgers, your boy. Old A-Rod, who's hiding out in the dark right now, taking his hallucinogens. He will be a Green Bay Packer this fall. True or false?
True.
Really?
He ain't trying to leave them, and they've already said they basically gonna pay him, so they got to wheel him out there or carry him like they did Leftwich to throw that ball.
Remember that game? They carried him down the field. He won that game, actually. Shouts out to him. Mr. Glenn checking in says, Prime going to be the Cowboys coach in 5 years. Please, sweet baby Jesus, all 8 pounds, 5 ounces. Please make that happen. I will be totally down for that. Mike, do you agree? Aaron Rodgers will be in Green Bay this fall.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, Green Bay is ran by the fans, so the fans want him to stay. I mean, they just paid their running back, so yeah.
Okay, so then that leads to a follow-up question. Well, then what in the hell do you do with Jordan Love? His contract is just about up, and he hadn't touched the field.
Keep him sitting there.
Yeah, everyone looked at San Francisco like, oh, so these second-string quarterbacks are going to start getting paid.
I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I was just saying these second-string quarterbacks are going to start getting paid after that at San Francisco.
But if you're the Green Bay front office, aren't you growing tired of this every year? You went through this with Brett Favre. Oh, I might retire. I might go host Jeopardy. I might go be on Real Housewives of Cheesehead Factory. Like at some point, the team will have to find out what they have in their first round pick, right?
I mean, at this point, it's like he's been sitting there. They know what they have. They just don't want to get rid of old Lyron because they think he's going to give them the best chance to win.
I agree with that. If you're looking at it in a vacuum for one season, he does give you the best chance to win over an unproven.
We quick to push these players off, say they're terrible, it's a bad pick. He's never had a chance to go out there and prove himself. We would have known Purdy was some count. Had Trey Lance and Garbage not gotten hurt, we wouldn't have known he was any good.
Great point. AP Culture checking in. She says he needs to stay in the cut eating juiced up mushrooms. Mama, you on that Matrix again this morning? Shouts.
Yep, on her second cup.
All right, Joe. When she gets to that second cup, watch out, world. Thank you for checking in, pretty lady. Rodgers won Super Bowl in 15 years. Time to move on. I agree with you, Mr. Glenn.
Yes.
I agree.
Why they keep holding on to him? Like he's only literally won one Super Bowl.
Think about the quarterbacks that's won one Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer has won a Super Bowl, man. Come on, man. Like you're the Green Bay Packers. You are a national brand, and you're not getting there. And they look like they're regressing now. Detroit has showed us in week 18 that they were the top dog now. Minnesota ain't going nowhere with Mr. Gritty City and 2 Chainz. Like Green Bay is not going to win that division again.
First of all, you will not compare him to my favorite rapper right now.
Man, these shoes I got on, they the hardest I done seen. Hey, all right. Now, Mike, you up next. Now, these questions are just going to get tougher. Let's go true or false. Mike, you up. Ryan Tannehill will be a Tennessee Titan this September. True or false?
True.
No, Lord Jesus, no. Please.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Titans, man. They don't move on that quickly unless it's the player's choice. So I'm gonna say Tannehill wants to stay, so he's gonna stay.
Damn, and you looked me right in my eyes in the camera and told me that. Like I didn't want to hear that. Tasha, now let me throw this out there. Maybe I can sway you to say something different. But no, it actually backs up Mike's point. Ryan Tannehill, if we cut him this year, we saved $19 million against the cap. However, y'all sat here and watched me wither away to nothing the last 7 games of the year when he was out, and you saw the backup quarterback play in Tennessee where they squandered a 7.
You went from this to this.
I lost it all in my shoulder blades. I was just withering away to nothing. And that's with the leading rusher in the NFL last year. We still couldn't get nothing done on offense. Tasha, now word is on the street that the New York Jets have done preliminary talks with the Titans about offering 2 picks for Tannehill. They haven't disclosed which 2 picks. Would you take those picks and run and start anew, or would you just keep him?
Man, I take them picks. I have a Beacons truck backed up in Tannehill. I pay for it. I help him pack his ish up and send him right on to New Jersey.
Yeah. I think it's time to move on for both of those quarterbacks. He served his time in his season, but once you got rid of AJ, you basically signaled to the fans that it's time for a rebuild. So in that regard, like, we'll see. Me, I'm kind of torn. I would love to free up that $19 million and, hell, sign Josh Dobbs, go with him for a year, and maybe we get Caleb Williams next year when we bottom the hell out. And then start over new with Caleb Williams and a new running back. Let's just finish out Derek's career with a serviceable, cheap quarterback, continue to build around the offensive line, and roll from there. But we will see. Now, I'm scared to pull this up if it's about the Titans. Titans should start the younger, cut Tannehill, and sign Heineke as a backup. Now, Mr. Glenn, you're in my brain today because I was thinking sign Josh Dobbs to a veteran minimum, get a quality journeyman backup for him, and then just keep Malik Willis as a project, as a third quarterback that's on the practice squad.
Malik Willis could be developed to be a salvageable. I mean,
Tasha, you saw those games with Malik Williams last year.
But I've never been a fan of Tannehill. I mean, it's just like the NFL has a problem of just keep giving certain quarterbacks a chance when their chance needs to be up.
So no one more chance for you, Biggie, huh?
No.
All right. Well, I mean, the Titans have 11 picks, so I mean, why can't they trade up and get Bryce Young or something?
You see, now you're thinking, let's get
5'10" of Bryce Young.
Hey, Kyler Murray did it.
Right.
Season.
Right. I'd rather have a quarter of a watermelon than a whole grape. How about that? Yeah. All right. Now, Tasha, you're up. Lamar Jackson will receive a contract extension this offseason. True or false?
Man, they finna get that man a franchise tag.
Okay, Baltimore. All right. Do it. I'm saying do it because he's going to force his way out of Baltimore.
He screwed himself by playing this season. And I said that at the beginning of the season.
You did. Mom says he needs a lot of help on offense audios. Mama wants Tannehill gone too. She's over the Tannehill experience. Mike, will the Ravens pony up this offseason?
I think they have to. They saw what happened when he was out hurt. I agree that he was hurt. I also think he could have came back, and he was like, nah, I'm not going to come back.
His mama called him and said, baby, if you go out there on that field Sunday, don't even bother to come back to this hood.
All his boys start sending him that photo of RG3 with that brace and that knee was turned like this.
Right, with Haloti Nada with that helmet on the knee that sent him into the boot.
That's all it took.
Right. First of all, don't ever get up from the buffet without putting cheese on your taco. First and foremost. Like, if you go on a job interview and you don't discuss pay, don't get mad when you get your first check and you wondering what the hell is going on. That's the first thing you get right is the money. Then you show up and start showing out. So I agree with Tasha. I think he's going to get the franchise tag. And now you're looking at an ugly situation because I might not want to play under a 1-year tag. I might just have to sit that thing out. Okay.
I mean, he's more of a viable quarterback overall than Mr. 8 Chains himself, who's made a living and a career off of being a franchise tag, of having the franchise tag put on him.
Y'all, the chains that he wear around his neck is symbolic because the man knows how to get that money. He knows how to work that system in the NFL. The man is the richest quarterback out there. He got more money than Deshaun Watson.
He ain't going to play off, as Bomani Jones would say.
All right, Mike. Now, I want you to really think about this one. Not to say you don't think about any of the other ones. Wait a minute. Let me let you get trolled since the rest of us got trolled. Here's Uncle Langston. Another Cowboys fan checking in on Mike. Good morning, Miss Hastings. Now, Mike, got an interesting one for you. The Chicago Bears will take a quarterback at number 1 this draft. True or false?
Man, I hope for their sake that it's false. They need a lot of help. I don't think putting in another fresh quarterback is going to help them. If anything, leave those kids alone. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready yet.
Shouts out to my nephew Carter Paul, culture checking in. Shouts out Tasha. Do you agree that should be false? That they shouldn't take a quarterback at number 1?
Again, you will be in the same situation. It's not all Justin Fields' fault that the Bears are what they are. It's not all his fault. You, like Mike said, they need a line. You can't say, oh, we want a pocket quarterback and then don't give him anything, for him to have time to stand there and throw the ball.
Now, let me play Angel's advocate because we don't give no place for the devil on this show. I'm going to play Angel's advocate real quick. Let's say, who's the coach of Chicago? It's not Nagy. Who's the coach of Chicago?
They got a new coach.
I think it's Damien. I think Damien be doing it on the weekends up there. I think I seen him with a Kangol on the side. I think it's him. When was the last time the Bears were relevant? That would be 1985 with Refrigerator Perry and Jim McMahon and all those.
Because I like the dad running the ball, like making Roman. Come on, Walter Payton.
No, that franchise jinxed themselves by not letting Walter Payton get a touchdown in that Super Bowl. They haven't been good since. So that's the thing. And okay, so yeah, we made your point for you, Langston. Now, let's look at this. There were 35 quarterbacks that qualified for this stat as far as passing yards per game last year. You had to have average at least 14 passing attempts per game to qualify. Out of 35 qualified participants, Justin Fields was 35th with 149.5 yards per game. Now, I know he was a fantasy sensation as the season waned on, but fantasy football and real football is two entirely different beasts. And you can't run your way to a Super Bowl from the quarterback position. Now, Jalen Hurts almost did, but he still had to throw for 300 yards to stay in that game. We're going to get to Hurts next week. So let's say you're the Bears. You decide to take C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, number 1. You extend the rookie window for not having to pay a huge extension. You get some draft capital for Fields. Send him somewhere to the NFC South because they all need a quarterback. And then you kind of build from there. I don't want my quarterback averaging 149 yards passing a game in the NFL when you have a defense that's always got you behind. You ain't never going to come back. Mike, to that you say what?
Oh, man. So they do have a fairly new coach. What is it? Matt Eberflus or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, Mike Eberflus, yeah.
You can't get – I don't think to talk. I mean, what we're saying, Tasha, what we're saying is, you can't start over. Like you have to do something different if you want to see a different result. And they keep trying to do the same thing. I don't see them doing that. I see that they're going to start building them up. Now, if you do have an offensive line, you do have a star receiver, and then he's still producing the same, then that's when you're like, okay, we need a new quarterback. But not really.
How many times are you going to get a chance to have the number 1 overall pick?
If they're smart, they would, like Mike said, they need to trade that pick, get them a couple of – you got the first pick. So that'll give you a lower first-round pick and a possible second-round pick and get you some offensive pieces.
And Langston, you're correct. I stand corrected. They did make the Super Bowl against the Colts with Lovey. They did.
Or defense. I mean, you saw, they had Jay Cutler make an impact in the playoffs. Like, come on.
With that number 1 pick, that gives you leverage. You can also get you a veteran with having a number 1 pick. You can get you a veteran and some extra picks by having number 1.
Now, Jarrell, we were agreeing just a segment ago. Nay said my thing is dumb. He says the Bears want to be dumb and trade Fields. My Commanders will take him ASAP. I think Eric Bieniemy would too, as a matter of fact. But I didn't think it was that far out of shape. All right, Tasha. Last but not least, your boy, Mr. Belly Shirt, Ezekiel Elliott, will be on the Dallas Cowboys this fall. True or false? All of his – wait a minute now. Wait, that was close. My nephew's watching. We ain't had that talk with him yet. All right.
What talk, Uncle Paul?
Oh boy. All right. So just to set the stage for this for everybody who might not know, Ezekiel Elliott's agents yesterday came out and said that they're going to go to the combine and they're going to talk to the brass because the brass want him to restructure his deal. He's not owed any more guaranteed money, but he's not wanting to give back what he's got coming this year. If he doesn't restructure, they may release him, and he's not looking to restructure. First of all, and real quickly before I come back to you, Tasha, why would you go to the combine where there's a bunch of young running backs running 4.3s and 4.2s to do a negotiation? They're gonna be looking down at their clock like, "Oh yeah, bro, you can roll."
He's like, "So you're a linebacker, huh?" Okay.
Right. You the gunner, ain't you? Tasha, to that you say what, true or false?
Man, I think it all hinges on how well Pollard heals because Ezekiel is a good backup.
Oh, okay. I was like,
backup. I no longer believe Ezekiel Elliott could be. Thank you. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott could be a starter anymore. But again, Jerry doesn't like to be told what to do.
That's true. And he loves Zeke.
I would get rid of Zeke, save that money, give me another running back or somebody else from the draft or via trade.
Zeke's the overpaid fullback, Mike. You agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Isn't Pollard's contract up too?
He is. He is a free agent.
Yeah, I think the NFL, it's been changing, right? But with Pacheco coming in from Rutgers and just showing out, and that speed shows in the NFL, I think they go after for a speed back. I think that's what they do.
They do need to
speed back. To play rugby, yeah.
Right, because he looks more like a rugby player now with that.
Tell your grandbaby to take
contact
from you.
Right, tell the prince to snatch your phone and throw it out the window. Now we've gotten into this numerous times on this show, and I don't have the energy to fight these two because they be putting me in the fatality where you be like this, and you can't push the buttons no more.
Finish him.
Like I'm not broaching this subject with these two because they look at him smiling. They just wait for me to say something. Yes, but that won't happen while he owns the team. So I'm not going to even try to defend him on this one. I don't have the energy because they always put me over their lap and paddle me like we back in the 80s. So on that one, Melanie, I'm going to just bow out gracefully because they know that the Cowboys are in trouble with him. You can run faster backwards in church shoes. Now, you know how hard it is to run in church shoes. Remember running out of church? Not
the driving low for some slick hard bottoms on the
Oh, wait a minute. Christina says he looked rough at the NFL.
Hey, we roasting session. Okay. Let me get my list. Okay.
This is why I saved Cowboys for last because I knew y'all was going to do this to me. Shouts out to Papa Soul, who's a Cowboys fan. Like at least somebody's a Cowboys fan around here. All right, but yeah, Mike, they got some real questions at running back. Let me ask you this, Mike, and Tasha, you too. Do you re-sign a player who had a gruesome ankle injury, the type of Pollard had, that late in the season? Do you re-sign him without seeing him on the field again?
And see, that's the thing. That's when me being an owner or a general manager, like you risk, okay, I'm not going to sign him. And then he goes to another team and goes somewhere else and comes back to Cowboy Stadium and runs for 250 on you.
250 what? Oh, you know how long an NFL field is? He ain't getting down the field like that. We haven't seen that since 2016, Z.
I'm just saying. Hey, Terrell Owens had 283 in Jerry Rice's final game at Candlestick Park, so
he did, but have Terrell Owens today in his mid-50s pull up his shirt next to Zeke.
That is true, because Terrell Owens is still got that chiseled six-pack. You
can still wash your jeans on his stomach. Now with Muffin Top, he done cashed in his money and he wants out. Now he wants out.
Muffin Top.
He looks like a customer service supervisor. That's what he looks like.
He started declining ever since he jumped into that Salvation Army bowl. It is never the same.
Right. You're right. He hadn't been the same after that.
feed Zeke. They must have had some food in that tin when he jumped in there.
They had some sweats. Zeke, no, he said Zeke ate a baby. We're not doing this. We moving on. All right. NBA All-Star Weekend is upon us. For those that have forgotten, yes, there's other sports besides football, and we must start our transition. No, but look at Mike.
No, ain't doing it. Let's talk more about the draft. So the Bears can trade their top number 1 and get 3 for it.
Mike. Look, Mike, none of us are happy about this, but we got to do it for the people. There are basketball fans out there. There's still a King James that sits high on the throne looking down at his. I'm not going to do that today. So we have the East versus the West. No, we have the East versus the West. We have Team Giannis for the East versus Team LeBron. I'm going to give you the 2 starting lineups real quick, and you let me know which starting 5 that you would take in a one-game
the West versus the West. Come on, let's go.
I mean, before you
and Langston's saying it's over.
Before you even start there, I think they need to change that trade deadline because you got 2 East starters who are now in the West.
That is very, very true. And I was wondering how that would work with Kyrie being a starter, but it looks like he's going to play for the East. Now, the starters are going to stay on their respective spots, but the reserves can be on either guy's team. And before we get into the names, the NBA announced yesterday that the captains will choose live right before the game starts who's going to be on their team. But in order to save the ego of one of those players, they're not going to pick the reserves last. They're going to pick the reserves first, so somebody's not the last one picked. Do you think that's further wussification of America?
My thing is, look, first of all these gimmicks. They need to end all these gimmicks. Let's go back to this Pro Bowl. Flag football, dodgeball. You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball. They need to get rid of all these gimmicks, period.
Right.
Why do you need to draft a player? Like, then you have...
Your daughter just said it best.
Right. Somebody's
going to be picked last.
It doesn't matter. Do it the way it's always been done. You let your players, the fans, the players, and the coaches vote. It's no need to be having a damn draft. Oh, I'm going to pick him. I'm going to pick him. I'm going to pick him. That's stupid. Also, did y'all see the names in the slam dunk contest?
Oh, we're going to get to that, Tasha. We're going to get to that here in just a second because I have right here, I bet you nobody knows any of these names. I bet you nobody could, without using Google, could tell me who these people play for. And I'm going to test y'all on that here in just a second.
I know one because of his daddy, and that's it.
Well, we're gonna get to that. But let's go to Team Giannis. Team Giannis is going to be Giannis, Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum. All right, I like that 5. Team LeBron for the West is LeBron, Nikola Jokic, Luka, Ja, and Lauri Markkanen for the Utah Jazz.
Over.
Who you taking?
It's over. West.
Wait a minute, say that again.
No, the East is Giannis, Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, and Jason Tatum. The West is LeBron, Jokic, Morant, Luka, and Lauri Markkanen, a rising star for the Utah Jazz, who's replacing an injured Zion Williamson, who we're going to get into in depth next week. You like Mike is going with the West. Who are you going with, Tasha?
I'm going with the East simply because of Giannis.
Simply because of Giannis.
He's like the only player that goes like 100% during these All-Stars.
He's playing that like a real game. We're like, Giannis, calm down. You're going to hurt somebody out here fouling everybody. Calm down. Now, this is correct. Giannis got hurt the other night. He might not play. I think his ego won't allow him not to play because he wants to dunk on LeBron. Yeah. He's going to come out there and get 30 and 20 because he always goes hard in the All-Star game. Now, you got the East, Tasha. You got the West. Okay. All right. Now, who scores the first basket? Let's do a little NBA prop bets. Mike, who scores the first basket?
I think LeBron's going to pass the ball to Ja. I'm going to go Ja.
You going Ja? Okay. LeBron passing again. I know Tasha love to hear that. Old pass first LeBron. All right.
I'd rather see Ja dunk it on 15 people than see LeBron throw up a shot and pray it go in because he was scared to take it.
Who scores first, Tasha?
I'm gonna go with Ja too. I like that. I can see that.
Really?
Yeah. And
Now, to both of y'all's credit, Ja had a really subpar All-Star game last year. It looks like he was almost frozen out like the Pistons did Mike in his first one. He didn't get a lot of shine on that. Now, Jarrell says Luka with the 3. Luka is a person that you need to keep an eye on in this All-Star game because he's been in Dallas, and all the talk has been about Kyrie saving him. He's like, no, I'm about to save Kyrie, and I'm going to show all of y'all bums when we get out there to Salt Lake City. Though, let's not forget, Luka's top 3 in the league right now. They don't get a lot of national television exposure to the playoffs, but Luka is a bad boy. I think he's going to come with his A game as well. All right. Who has the most dunks in this game? I'm going to say it's between Giannis and Ja myself. Who has the most dunks in this game, Mike?
But do we even know if Giannis is going to play?
I think he's going to play. He hurt his wrist the other day, but he can't shoot no way. Just dunk with the other hand.
He was fine last night coaching. So
he was coaching last night. But yeah, if it's down to that, I'm definitely going to take Giannis because at least Ja can, step out and do a little jump back and shoot it up.
Right. So I'm going Giannis as well.
I'm going to go Ja to Paul's point, going to show out. And
he was embarrassed this year. So I think that he's going to come out there and put on a good show because everybody's been like, oh, you fine in the West, all you blah, blah, blah. I think they're going to be chattering at him in that game. We're going to see his mental makeup on Sunday because some of those veterans with championship pedigree are going to be like, all right, young man, you've been talking a whole lot of crap. They're probably killing him in the locker room when he get there. We will see. Who's your game MVP, Mike?
Let's put it all on it. I mean, Ja. I mean, like you said, he's just gonna go all out. He's gonna.
Mike, don't make me watch this game now. Now I'm gonna watch the game because you got me all jawed out. That's what I see, Mike. That's what I'm talking about. Tasha, who's your MVP?
I'm gonna go with Embiid.
Now, to Tasha's credit, no one feels more disrespected in the NBA right now than Joel Embiid. He could have and should have, in his mind, won the last 2 MVPs. He's like one of the most forgotten players. He feels like that he is better than Jokic, but Jokic gets all of the credit, and he's another one that will take this game super duper serious. So I'm not mad at that one either. So we got Ja. I'm going Giannis because just Giannis he takes the game too serious. All right, now 3-point contest. We're gonna do a prop bet on who wins this. I'm gonna go through the names real quick. Buddy Hield, who won last year, the defending champ. We have Damian Lillard. We have Jason Tatum, Tyler Hero, and Tyrese Halliburton. Who you going with?
I'm going to go with Lillard. He's been on fire this season, especially towards the All-Star break.
All right, Tasha?
I mean, hell, I only know Lillard and Buddy Hield, to be honest.
Hey, Jason Tatum, the light-skinned assassin.
Jason Tatum. I'm going to go with Tatum for the upset.
Hey, did y'all see Boston play against Memphis last Sunday on ABC? I'm going Tatum too. That man was hitting threes from the damn the cigar hanging out the little munchkin's mouth. What do they call him? Leprechaun.
Leprechaun, fool!
Now, Mike, I'm gonna Uber Eats you some dinner if you could tell me who these people play for in this dunk contest. I will Uber Eats you some dinner. Tasha, watch his eyes. Don't let him look down.
He already looked up and down.
Eyes. Oh, you know what? He probably already did his research.
Eyes front mess. Ain't nobody doing that.
No, I didn't. I think even with research, I still couldn't find it. So,
well, let's go with Kenyon Martin II. Who he play for?
The who?
Kenyon Martin II. I mean, everybody know his daddy played for the Nets.
Martin. Nope.
Yeah, that's Houston Rockets. Trey Murphy III, Eddie Murphy's grandson.
Nope.
Only reason I know this one, these are the only 2 I knew. I knew the Rockets, and he plays for the Pelicans.
He does. Well, see, Tasha, me and you will be a little more apt to watch an NBA game than Mike because Mike does a little more quality time TV watching than we do.
And I just found that out this morning because the Rising Star MVP plays for the Pelicans, and they were saying
that's true. Alvarado, yes. Now, Mac McClung, who's he play for?
Next.
All right.
His name right?
Hell, I don't know. I've watched several Sixers games and I ain't never seen him on the court. I think he's from the G League. He's a G League development player. And last but not least,
he could be on that Ben Simmons plan.
Stop that. Last but not least, Jericho Sims, Mike.
Jericho does sound familiar.
Not from the Bible.
I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. I don't know.
He said he was going with the Nuggets. Mike, you was on the way on the other side of the country. He's a Knick.
He's a what?
He's a New York Knick.
Oh, I thought he was over in Jericho. Joshua.
Right, I was thinking of Joshua and Jericho myself. Like, look, I had to look these up. Now, y'all already know ain't nobody watching this. We get that. So we're not going to bore you with who's going to win this because I don't know and I don't care.
Yeah.
My question to you is, Tasha, how do you fix the slam dunk contest? Is it fixable?
It's not because again, everything has become a damn gimmick. Like what? I mean, now you're pulling out mascots. You're jumping over cars, which has been done, 2 or 3 times now. You're jumping over players. You're getting assists. People throwing it up on the backboard.
Didn't somebody jump over HEB one time?
I mean, it's becoming so gimmicky now. Yes. And then they don't make the dunk on the first try anymore. It's not.
So anyway,
right. So Mike, how do you fix it?
Yeah, I think when you have flag football, NFL, All-Star break, you're doing these jump passes into the. I mean, even that was kind of cringe.
Right.
And I think I forgot who said it, but they said, man, even the MLB is making good changes for their All-Star games.
Right.
You have to change this. I think a cool thing that the NBA did do is they came out with this new AR thing to where you could put yourself in the game. Right.
That was dope. That was
pretty cool. I think for the dunk contest, you got to bring it back, to the thing I sent you, to the 2005 and kind of mix it with both worlds of some type of like, I don't know. I mean, if you have to have a bonus structure, I don't know what these players want. You got to start there. Like, hey, what would entice you to join? Hey, Ja, what would entice you to join this?
I would rather, to your point, Mike, and that link was dope as far as being able to put yourself into the experience. I would definitely sign up for that 1,000 times out of 1,000. Maybe it's the name recognition. I'm not sacrificing an hour watching 4 guys I've never heard of miss dunks. Right. It's no different than us, driving down the street and you seeing some people practicing dunking like at the local gym. You're not going to sit there and just keep watching them miss dunks. So I don't get that. Maybe if you have to be an all-star to dunk, I would rather see Jason Tatum do a regular dunk than to see Mac McClung miss a dunk while he's trying to jump over 5 mascots. I don't know how you fix it. Like Mike said, what do the players want? Josh said he'll do it for $3 million, but I think they would offer him that and he still probably wouldn't do it. Tasha, is it fixable, or do we just need to do away with this and go to flag football like NFL did? They just did away with the game. And silence is
her power is going out, so she's
right. Okay, all right. So Mike, we don't know what's going on with her. We'll check that. So Mike, I want to come to you with this real quick. The Hall of Fame finalist for basketball is out, and there were 4 names that really jumped out at me on this. We have your boy, Dallas's all-time king, Mr. Dirk Nowitzki. We have his longtime nemesis, Mr. Dwayne Wade. We have Coach Greg Popovich, and we have Paul Gasol. Now, we know, and nobody knows this better than you, being a lifelong Mavs fan, of the history between the Mavs and the Heat, between Dirk and D Wade. I know you hate D Wade, you love Dirk. Who had the better career? Would you rather have had Dirk's longevity and 1 title, or a shortened career with injury with 3 titles like Wade?
You already know this. I'm going to stick with Dirk on this. I feel like Dwayne Wade he started like the outside help thing. Everyone wants to point to LeBron, but like, let's be real, it was Dwayne Wade's team already.
That was Wade's call. Yeah.
So I think he needed the help. With Shaq to start it out. Let's be real, Mavs should have won that. Congrats to the Heat for winning that. But I felt like he
You
relied
mean congrats
on.
to the refs in 06?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he relied on too much of the free throws, specifically throughout his career. He would shoot a shot. He's kind of like Tim Duncan out there, like, "Where's the foul?" And I'm like, "Come on, man."
Right. The hands up.
So I'm gonna go. I always respect players that stick with one team, and the team, and not just from the money standpoint, but just the team also giving them what they deserve. It's just a good thing. Kobe did it, Tim Duncan did it, Dirk did it.
Right.
I just respect that more than just jumping around.
And think about what it did for just flipping back to football for a second. Think about what that did for the big three in Dallas with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. And I know Emmitt went later on, played with the Cardinals for a season or two, but by and large, they are Cowboys through and through. And so, shouts out to them for that. Do you feel like the way that the Spurs have looked so god awful since Duncan's departure kind of hurts Popovich's legacy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of like when you win it so many times, like they did. The Spurs kind of dominated, and even we called them like the I guess they were like the ninjas of the West because no one was talking about it. They were very stealthy coming into the West, even through the Western Conference Finals. They were like, "Oh, the Spurs are here. Oh, okay, yeah, Lakers have this one or whatever." I think Popovich is kind of like a Phil Jackson, as status wise. He just did great things from a coaching standpoint.
I'm going to give him a nod above Phil Jackson because he wasn't a mercenary. There were several coaching opportunities where he could have ran and coached the Big Three in Brooklyn. He could have went and tried to coach the Suns. Who wouldn't hire Greg Popovich? He knows that he puts a phone call in, you're going to fire your coach and bring him on board. That's even with the Memphis Grizzlies. Popovich called up and say, "Hey, I want to coach Ja." They're going to get rid of the current coach. So the fact that he decided to stick it out where he is in the rebuild, I give him a ton of respect for that. Now, Mike, who we shouting out today on this All-Star weekend?
I got some shout outs. Let's see. I want to shout out I guess the NFL draft, man. For the teams, I'll say this, for the teams that have a lot of hope, stick with it, man. Y'all still got time to draw up some different plays. Shouts out to the Bears. You don't want a quarterback, trade that spot, man. Let's get some 2-3 extra picks in there because you're going to need a whole team for this.
And what about the Titans? Should they trade? I just want to throw in a bonus question for you since Tasha's not in right now.
The Titans.
And we can just do one word answer because we're going to dive further into them as we get closer to the draft, of course.
No, you don't trade. You don't
trade.
All right,
take a pick there. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give a shout out to the Hassos, Michael and Stacy, because their Super Bowl party was off the chain. Not only did we have official commemorative Super Bowl cups branded by the NFL, y'all, we had challenge flags. They had red challenge flags that you can throw if you disagree with a call. I ain't never seen that at no Super Bowl party. The food was outstanding. It was great. Great camaraderie there. It was a festive atmosphere. The kids was running around playing games in the other room. It just reminded me of some of my old school Super Bowl parties growing up as a kid with my parents. It was a festive and fun atmosphere, and I thank you for the invite on that. That was a fun Super Bowl, and I hope you spent that money you won on all of us wisely.
Saving it, man. Saving it.
Now look, Tasha's a real trooper. She come in the comments.
Not the super.
Yes.
I got you on. It's okay.
Yes. So with that, while Tasha is handling some issues in the DR, me and Mike will bid you all a great weekend, a great All-Star weekend. You know how we get down. We see you in about 6 days and 23 hours. Until then, go Blue, beat Sparty. Like we're going to beat Sparty today. I just want to hear it on wax.
Oh, yeah, we're going to beat them.
All right, that's all we want to hear. We're out of here, y'all. Peace.
See ya.
Where's Tasha?